Once you have a detailed sketch down, the next step is going to be to take your 6B pencil and block in the dark values. When you're blocking in the values, you want to make sure that you're going with the contour of the object that you're adding the value to. So like this flower petal is a little bit kind of curved in here, and so I'm going to make sure that as I add the value, I'm kind of going in the direction that that petal is curved. When I get to the jar, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add value kind of with the form. So where it kind of juts out this way to make the corner and the shadow comes down there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with that direction of the curve. Same thing over here. There's kind of a little part that kind of curves kind of down and in. And so as I'm adding value, I want to make sure that I'm going with the direction of the form. My value is going to be very rough in the beginning. And so you will notice my detailed sketch has a lot of detail in it, but it also is missing some detail. And that's okay, because adding this value is going to kind of take away, it's going to be roughed in. We're going to block it in a lot of different places to start. If you have a graphite stick, sometimes people like to use those, especially for like bigger areas to block things in. It's really like, if you feel comfortable with that, I say go for it. If you don't have one or don't feel comfortable with it, don't worry about it. I actually often find that I'm more comfortable with using the 6B pencil on its side like this. So go ahead and block in your dark values, and then I'll show you how to blend. Okay, so I just keep adding 6B graphite around the whole piece. I work around really quickly. I'm not taking a lot of time on this. I'm making sure that I just block shadows in. I'm not thinking too terribly much about like how dark one area is versus another. I keep my scrap paper placed underneath my hand to protect my drawing so that way it doesn't get smudged. But I'm really just trying to block in shadows loosely right now. Later on, I'm going to blend it and then refine it. And so this is just a quick way to get some value down fast and then work from there. Okay, so now you'll see that I took the 6B and I blocked in a lot of value. It's very rough. There's not a whole lot of detail in places, but you can see where I'm starting to kind of pull out like edges of like darker areas against lighter areas, and also block in like masses amount of value in places. I left the negative space white for right now. You could, if you know like you want to add value to your negative space, you could add some value there, but I actually would just wait until the end. Sometimes once you see all of the finished value and how it ends up and everything else, you can start to kind of think about, well, what value will contrast that nicely? Should I add a gradient? It's just something to think about later on as a finishing touch. So anyway, it's very, very rough. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into blending this together, and then I'm going to go ahead and reinforce the details with the 6B and then also my other pencils.